Once hair metal really blew up in 86, I think. 86 when Bon Jovi went big, when Poison and Cinderella. A lot of those bands that were huge in the early 80s just struggled to fit in, and MTV started saying, we're going in a different direction.
They're not a hair metal band. They were a hard rock band, and they kicked fucking ass.
That I think Reckless is one of the greatest albums of all time.
Makes me want to go put on my jeans and play volleyball.
Hell yeah. And I bet you he laid more pipe in the 80s than fucking New York City plumbing. Speaking of that, when the hell are we going to start getting groupies on this channel? You have any groupies fucking getting hold of you online?
No, I just have a bunch of dudes that send me messages asking about music. And
Is that the same year you got your first boner?
it was.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And holy shit, I got my buddy Patrick here because today we are talking about our favorite bands that were on the cusp of hair metal. Maybe not quite hair metal, but somewhere in the vicinity of that. And with that, Patrick, welcome back to the show.
What an exciting topic. It's kind of fun to see who was trying to be almost hair metal and who wasn't. But they had songs that if you closed your eyes, you probably envisioned it was a hair metal band. So this should be fun.
In fact, some of these bands, I'll be honest, there's a couple bands in here that I've played on Hair Metal Mansion, but I've always, we've thrown around the term hair metal adjacent
Right.
a lot. So, these are bands that I certainly don't think are hair metal, but there might be aspects of them that you go, oh, that song was kind of close. So,
Right.
so yes, it'll be interesting. We decided we're each going to go with 5 on the cusp hair metal bands. Before we get into it, if you look in the description, you'll see Hair Metal Guru merch, shirts, hoodies, all sorts of shit to make your ass look good. And you'll also find my description, the link for Hair Metal Mansion. Every Saturday I host Hair Metal Mansion on Rock 101 KLOL. And so there's some shit for you to do if you get bored listening to us talk about bands that are on the cusp. So we each decided to pick 5. Patrick, what's your number 5 band?
I'll tell you what, Anthony, in 1987, I was in the 4th grade, and that was when I became musically conscious in the sense of, wow, this is cool shit, and I'm getting into this.
Is
And
that the same year you got your first boner?
it was. They went hand in hand. When I heard the music, it went straight up. So, um, but one of that Christmas of '87, I begged my mother for about 5 different tapes, and one of them was from this band, and I to this day still listen to this band all the time, and I love their music. It's Loverboy. I think Loverboy is not. They're not a hair metal band. They were a hard rock band, and they kicked fucking ass. And the album that I got back in '87 was Wild Side,
Yeah.
which had the song Notorious, that was written by John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora. And that album specifically, I think they were trying to move into sounding a little more current and hair metal. It failed. It didn't even go gold, but and it actually broke the band up for a long time. But Loverboy kicks fucking ass. They really do.
I'm completely with you. The mid 80s, around 86, a lot of these early 80s bands like Loverboy, it started to become like, wait, what do we got to do here? Like, this is a really confusing time. The hair was, a lot of these bands never had the long hair.
Well,
They
yeah, Mike Reno didn't.
Mike Reno never did. So some of them started going, okay, let's try to change a little bit for that trajectory. And that Wild Side album is solid. Notorious is a really good fucking song.
Love Will Rise Again. Oh God, yeah. It's great songs. And he was Mike Reno was like on so many different soundtracks
Yes.
throughout the '80s with mega hits. He did the one with Ann Wilson there. It's
Yep.
escaping my Almost Paradise.
Almost Paradise.
That was huge
Yep.
song. He had a song on the Top Gun
Top
soundtrack.
Gun.
They're phenomenal, and I'm so glad
Footloose.
they're still together.
Yep. Um, Mike has kind of an interesting look these days.
That's for sure. I
But
love when he comes out and he's still got the bandana on,
fuck yes.
but it takes him a while to get to the mic.
Right. Right. Yep. Yeah, that's I'm right with you. Hey Jason from Canada, there you go. There's your Canada representation.
That's for you, Jason.
And I'll just throw this out here, a band that didn't make my list, but that could have, and maybe even they should have. Another Canadian band, Honeymoon Suite. Do you remember like the big
Yeah.
cries? Fuck, that was a good band. Anyway, my number five. Um, it's shocking how big this band is and or was and maybe is. And in fact, we're gonna do a little news story on them because they've been in the news because their replacement lead singer, Kelly Hansen, has just decided he's gonna leave the band. And I'm talking about Foreigner. Check out these stats. The first album, 1977, the self-titled, 5 times platinum. If you remember the song, Feels Like the First Time, Cold as Ice. Second album, Double Vision, 7 times platinum. The title track, Hot Blooded, Head Games in 1979, 5 times platinum. The Four album in 1981, produced by Mutt Lange, 6 times platinum. And I'll just say this, Jukebox Hero may be my favorite Foreigner song of all time. Then Agent Provocateur, 3 million in 1984. I want to know what love is, but that's a hugely controversial song. If you've ever heard what's his name? Lou Gramm talk about the songwriting process. Mick Jones, who formed the band, kind of had the skeleton of it. Lou Gramm says, "Hey, I created the melodies. I did this, I did that." At the end, when they were doing the songwriting credits, he said, "Yeah, we'd each kind of go, okay, hey, for this song, I think it's Mick 70%, Lou 30%, or whatever it was." And I think Lou said he suggested like 60-40 for Mick to get the majority. And Mick said 80-20, and Lou just got pissed and said, "You know what? You obviously just want it all," because I think they kind of knew I Want to Know What Love Is was going to be massive. And Mick ended up taking like he took like 95%. So the next time they threw their numbers, Mick said fucking 95 for me, 5 for Lou. And that was what he did the next album, Inside Information, but he said that was kind of what broke Foreigner up. And money always is the thing that
Oh,
fucks,
yeah.
but even Inside Information in 1987 went platinum. So those guys were consistently going multi-platinum. They were massive. So I guess it's no wonder that they can tour right now with nobody in the fucking original band playing. I know Mick Jones does like select
Yeah.
shows here and there. But anyway, massive band. I loved Foreigner in the mid 80s, and I think most hair metal fans didn't consider Foreigner hair metal, but they were close enough to where you also liked them.
I think that's a good way to put it is that if you were in the car and somebody had, Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinking Rich on, took the tape out and put on Foreigner 4, you didn't bat an eyelash,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Yep. All right. What's your number four?
That was a great pick. My number four is probably it was tough. My five I love
I
all.
love Tough. 1991. What comes around? No, I'm
It was
sorry.
very tough to put this list together because I love all these artists. So I'm just going to say this, they're in no particular order. But Rick Springfield is among my favorite artists of all time. I adore his music. And his songs are pure energy. They're pop rock masterpieces in my book. Every album is solid. They're all different from each other, which is even cooler. I love his Dow album, which is just an insane. Rock of Life, that's such a great album too. His production or his music post 2000 is all amazing.
Yes.
The guy's just fucking epic,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I love his music. Rick Springfield rocks. There's no shame in that, and he's my number four.
I I think he got hurt because he was so good looking
Yes.
and he had been an actor.
In a soap.
So you know, like if you remember back in the 70s, it seemed like every actor ended up putting out an album, you
Hmm.
know, even if they sucked. So here comes somebody who actually has talent. He can
Right.
play guitar, he can write songs. But so even though he was massive, I think some of it was like, oh, well, he probably didn't earn it. You know,
Hmm.
he was given it. But like you said, shit, one of my favorite, now I can't remember what it's called. One of
Venus and Overdrive.
Venus in Overdrive. That album came out in 2000, what, 2005
Eight.
or 8?
Yeah.
It is amazing. Go check out Venus in Overdrive. So he's still doing great shit. The guy is old, but he's still shit. You can find him on YouTube, and he's still kicking ass live. It's
Like
unbelievable.
76.
Yes, isn't it? Jeez, we were talking like when I was like when we were kids, you would have never imagined like what 76-year-olds were people going to see live in
Right.
1990? Nobody.
Nobody.
And nowadays it's just common, you know, to play that
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
I also think that the cool thing about Rick Springfield is he is so accessible to his fan base. He does a cruise every year. There's a
Yeah.
whole documentary he did about his cruise and how he met like 6 or 7 different people on there and showcased their lives and how his music affected them. It's fantastic. It escapes me what it's called, but it's a fantastic documentary.
And I bet you he laid more pipe in the 80s than fucking New York City plumbing.
Yes, he was not the most loyal to his wife, that's for sure.
No, no, but he was loyal to his fans, especially if they
Yes,
were
sir.
cute. No.
At least for one night.
Speaking of that, when the hell are we gonna start getting groupies on this channel? You have any groupies fucking getting hold of you online?
No, I just have a bunch of dudes that send me messages asking about music.
You have a, or
Quite a letdown.
don't you have a girlfriend?
I do.
Yeah. Well, I don't. What the fuck?
I'll
Go.
send them your way.
Let's go, groupies. No, I'm just kidding. All right. My number 4. Okay, shit. I knew this was gonna happen. It's completely okay. It's Loverboy.
Oh, kick ass.
Okay. And again, like I was just it's fascinating to go back and find out number one, how big some of these bands got. And number two, like it didn't take much to break up a band. Like we
No,
were talking about the Wild Side album in 1987. Now, I looked on fucking Wikipedia. It said it went gold, but I think you're right. I don't think that album went
it
gold.
didn't. Yeah,
But still, I bet it sold a few 100,000 copies.
sure.
Notorious was kind of a hit. And, you know, nowadays, if a band sold a couple 100,000 copies, you'd be like fucking on top of the world. And back then, it was considered a failure.
Right.
But um, Loverboy, the self-titled in 1980 went double platinum. The Kid Is Hot Tonight, Turn Me Loose. Get Lucky went 4 times platinum. Working for the Weekend, I still think one of the most iconic songs of the fucking decade. Then you had Keep It Up in 83, went 2 times platinum, Hot Girls in Love. But then
Oh,
I remember hearing on Loving Every Minute of It, they were struggling. They weren't sure if they had a hit. They call up Mutt Lang,
yep.
who writes the title track, and then it does become a hit, goes double platinum. Anyway, they put out an album, but I think it was in 2009 called Just Getting Started.
Yeah, it was good.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and shit, I would still fuck if Loverboy comes to town, I'm fucking going.
Shit, yeah.
Even if Mike Reno kind of looks like Archie Bunker these
He
days.
does. I gotta say they did a re-recorded hits album, which I get why they do that, is because they want to be able to license that instead of the music they don't own. But on it, they did a brand new song with Bob Rock producing it that was called Heartbreaker. And that song is fucking killer. So
Shit.
people should go out and hear it.
Wait, when was this?
2010,
I
11.
know that. Um, they put
Heartbreaker is insanely good.
on the album Unfinished Business, check out Doing It the Hard Way. That came out in 2014. Amazing fucking song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, shit. There's still, it's nice to see bands that can still put out some good shit.
I'm
every now
jazzed
and
to
then.
tell that you had them on your list because
Yeah,
they don't get nearly the attention they should. And
right.
when you see them out on tour or you see them on YouTube on their live, like people recorded shit on at a concert, it's always packed and it's always a big fucking place.
Yes.
And they did a lot of I watched an interview with Mike Reno recently, and he was talking about every year for through the 2010s they would go out with REO Speedwagon, Foreigner, somebody of that ilk,
Yep.
and he goes, we rebuilt our base in like
Yeah.
a 3 year period,
Yep.
and now we can tour all the outdoor places every year and sell them out. And I thought
Totally.
that's fucking epic, you know? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And like what you're I mean, I don't think that's going to be the case with a lot of these bands is I'm just shocked at how little people talk about them.
Yeah.
You know, and or maybe it's out there and I'm just missing it, but I just, so hey, I would love to fucking have somebody from Loverboy, Paul Dean or Mike Reno, especially those two on the
Yeah.
channel. So
Paul
here we
Dean's
go.
solo shit's really good too.
It is. It is fuck. I was listening to that solo album, the first solo album he did. It's really fucking good.
Yep.
All right, we are on to your number three.
The king of the 80s soundtracks was none other than Kenny Loggins. And man, you talk about somebody who transitioned out of like the Loggins and Messina type stuff from the 70s and rebranding himself as a pop rock artist.
Yep.
I think you'd be hard pressed, Anthony, to find somebody who was better at it than Kenny Loggins.
Yep.
And if you had a movie coming out from like 1983 to 1989, you better freaking have a Kenny Loggins song on it because I mean, just look at the list: Footloose, Caddyshack, Over the Top, Top Gun. All of those. You turn on a AOR station for 2 hours, and you're going to hear a Kenny Loggins song,
Hell yes.
and
And
they're good.
yes. And my favorite Kenny Loggins, and I'm no expert on Kenny Loggins, but everybody knows some Kenny Loggins.
Oh shit, yeah,
Um, if you remember, he did a duet with Steve Perry from Journey, a
yes,
song called Don't Fight It. It is so fucking upbeat and amazing. I love that song.
oh yeah. I mean, I'm partial to the Stallone movie Over the Top, the
Love
Arnold
that movie.
one, and Meet Me Halfway. Holy shit, that's such a great song. You
Yes.
know,
I love
and
that movie.
I'm All Right from Caddyshack. Holy shit. It's
Yes.
all fucking great.
Hell yeah. Playing with the boys, you already said
Oh,
that.
makes
Fucking
me want to
A.
go put on my jeans and play volleyball.
Hell yeah. Yeah. All right. Good call. Good call. All right. So we've had one overlap so far, but that's all right. My number three, it's fucking Night Ranger. Okay. And I'm shocked. Night Ranger never had an album go over platinum. They had two platinum albums. Wouldn't you have thought that Midnight Madness from 1983 that had You Can Still Rock in America, Sister Christian, and maybe my favorite Night Ranger song, When You Close Your Eyes,
Oh, great song.
went to number 15, only went platinum. Um, their debut came out in 82, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Sing Me Away, Seven Wishes in 1985, Sentimental Street, Four in the Morning, Goodbye. Big Life in 87, The Secret of My Success,
Oh,
Hearts Away. And then they had Man in Motion in 1988 that kind of started. That was the first album to not go gold, but check out Restless Kind and Don't Start Thinking I'm Alone Tonight. Um, Fuck. That's like, damn it. And that's what we're talking about. Like the Lover Boys, the fucking Night Rangers, shit, so close to hair metal. But like we were saying earlier, once hair metal really blew up in 86, I think. 86 when Bon Jovi went big, when Poison and Cinderella, a lot of those bands that were huge in the early 80s just struggled to fit in, and MTV started saying, we're going in a different direction.
yeah. Night Ranger was so good at what they did. And, I was kind of, my favorite Night Ranger song is of My
Oh,
Success.
love it.
That song just shreds. I love it. And, everybody loves Sister Christian. And I think it's super cool that they have two singers in that band
Yep.
who can do things. They're very dynamic. They're all fantastic musicians. I think it's a testament to them that when Damn Yankees happened, some of that credit probably helped give some recognition to Night Ranger
Yeah.
because people who'd never heard it before went, "Oh, well, geez, we're going to go check this out
Yeah.
now." And they're so good. I've seen Night Ranger twice. They are fantastic to this day.
Yes.
If I heard they were coming to town, I'd be there.
Yes.
They are so great.
Well, look, I mean, Jack Blades went on to Damn Yankees. Brad
Yeah.
Gillis played with Ozzy Osbourne.
Fuck yeah, he did.
You don't get the Ozzy gig unless you can fucking play guitar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's stories about how, when he left Ozzy, he had to train the next person to come in there and do it, and he did it. He's a stand-up guy too. Very stand-up guy.
And Night Ranger has put out some albums over the last 10 years.
Hmm.
They had an album called Somewhere in California. Phenomenal. I mean,
Yes.
fuck, they're still doing kick-ass stuff. And Charlie wants to say hi, and she's pulling the shit out of my arm. Yeah, because you want people to sign up for your OnlyFans because you're 8 boobies. Jeez.
If you
Shit.
want a really special video, maybe she can make a special video with Night Ranger.
That's right. That's right. And if you want a really special video, you just go down to my PayPal email. It's anthony.a.bryant. And for a meager fee, there'll be extra shit on the OnlyFans. Anyway, okay. That was Night Ranger was my number 3. We're moving on to your number 2.
They're famous, unfortunately, for being the voice of a movie character, and they put out so many great records. John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Oh,
Adore John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Got to see them a few years ago, finally, and got to meet John Cafferty. He was insanely nice. His whole band is basically the original band still. They are phenomenal live. I just got to say, if you've never heard the song Voice of America's Sons, you are fucking missing out.
yes.
It's from the movie Cobra. It's fantastic. Another guy that's famous for soundtrack.
Yes. Hearts on Fire.
Oh yeah, from Rocky. Yeah.
And obviously the Eddie and the Cruisers soundtrack, and that's where he came to fame. Fucking
Yeah.
love John Cat. I used to sing On the Dark Side of Karaoke all the time. Oh.
Oh shit, yeah. His whole
Um,
catalog is great.
There's a song called Tough All Over.
Hmm.
That was a minor hit that I remember in the early 80s. And I saw them also live. And here's what surprised me is I only saw them once and they were amazing. But they opened with On the Dark Side.
Yes.
And I kind of wondered this. And maybe I'll get off track here, but Warrant with Cherry Pie. I know they used to hate between every song, people are chanting Cherry Pie. People are chanting your biggest hit. On the Dark Side is John Cafferty's biggest hit. Well, fuck, if you play it right away. But then, our people are gonna go, okay, well, I heard the song I need to hear. Anyway, it was an interesting an interesting way to start a concert. I was like, wow, come out with your biggest hit. But
Yeah. You know the dynamic thing about John Cafferty for me is there's one thing that we always say on this channel, which is I hate horns in rock. I don't hate the horns in John Cafferty's music.
I don't hate saxophone.
Yeah.
Like Bob Seger turned the page. I love that saxophone. I love the saxophone in John Cafferty. It's fuck, I'm trying to think of what an example could, but like fucking trumpets and shit.
Yes.
The cool sax solo is good, but fucking if you're
Way Cool Jr., bad.
yes,
John Cafferty, good.
yeah, I can't say it any better than that. Exactly,
Yes.
fucking A. Okay, man, yeah, you're really fucking damn. I was like, oh shit, how did I not put Rick Springfield? And then John Cafferty, that kicks ass.
If this were like any other video where it's who's winning, I think we know who's winning.
I think you'd be winning. Hurts me to
There's
say
still
that.
one pick to go.
I still got 2 left, so I
I
went for my number 2. But all right, my number 2. It's the band, the first rock concert I ever went to. The opening band was a guy named Henry Lee Summer. The following the second band who became a monster, His first song was hitting radio at the time I saw him was Richard Marx, but the headline act and the act I'm talking about at number two was REO Speedwagon. And I love REO. I have seen that band live so many times. They're amazing live. But they were putting out albums in like 1972. But where it really, and I'll just say, like songs like Keep Pushing came out in the early 70s. But for me, on the 1978 album, You Can Tune a Piano, but You Can't Tune a Fish, Roll with the Changes, Time for Me to Fly, Nine Lives from 1979. Check out a song I fucking can't listen to enough even lately. Only the Strong Survive by REO Speedwagon is one of the songs of the moment for me. Back on the Road Again also. And then they blew up in 1980 with High Infidelity.
Yeah.
10 million albums sold, went to number one. Keep on Loving You, Take It on the Run. Everybody knew that. Heard it from a friend who. As soon as that thing started, like everybody was like, "Oh my God, here we go." Don't Let Him Go.
Oh, that's my jam.
Oh,
Yeah,
Don't Let Him Go is amazing.
that's fucking my jam.
But they started kind of getting known as being more of just a ballad band in the mid
Mhm.
80s, and that started to hurt them. So anyway, on in on the Wheels Are Turning album in 84, Can't Fight This Feeling was huge, but again, now in the next album, they have another big ballad, but like I said, instead of being a rock band, they're kind of a ballad band, which was unfortunate. But they got a million hits and they're fucking great live, and I love REO Speedwagon.
I think, yeah, there is nothing you can say about REO Speedwagon other than that they're fucking great. You
Oh,
know, they are masters of what they do and probably inspired that whole genre of Richard Marx.
totally.
Like you listen to a Richard Marx album from the 80s into the 90s, and it follows the same formula as an REO Speedwagon.
Totally.
And Kevin Cronin is such a dynamic frontman and a
Unbelievable.
great musician.
Have you been following the shit? And I was
Yes.
almost like that's going on. Bruce Hall, their bass player, had some back surgery. And then when he's finally is like, okay, I think I'm going to be ready. They're like, no. And I think it's Kevin, but they're like, no. And they can't be REO Speedwagon without him. So
Right.
now they are Kevin Cronin, the Kevin Cronin band, which
Yeah.
and I don't, who knows the behind the scenes. That just seems kind of fucked up. Like,
Well, and they're out touring with their original singer from like 1974 or 5 before they got Kevin Cronin. And I think that's even more bizarre.
who's touring with him?
The other members of REO Speedwagon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really messed up.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. We should almost do a video on it at some point.
That's true.
Okay. All right. But anyway, love REO. That was my number two. We are moving on to your number one.
The
Oh,
Mighty in Excess.
I knew it.
I was going to say, I think when we decided this video, you already knew this was going to be in there. Arguably my favorite band of all time. That's not hair metal. And I love In Excess. They could do no wrong in my book. I was absolutely devastated when Michael Hutchence died. I could not function for a day because that's how much that band meant to me. But on the positive side, if you only know them from Need You Tonight or What You Need, then you've never heard In Excess before. They are famously in my book the only kick-ass rock band that can make you dance, even if you don't dance.
Totally.
Their music makes you move. They could adapt to any situation they were in or any tour they were in. And there's a famous interview with their guitar player, well, one of the guitar players. He was a guitar player and sax player, Kirk Pengilly, who they opened for the Rolling Stones in like 1983 at a special gig. And at that time, if you opened for the Rolling Stones, it was like be opening for Iron Maiden or opening for Ozzy. It was just a curse you will never survive. And they watched a couple gigs before they got on that tour, watching people get booed and thrown at. They went out there and got cheered and I thought, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. So if you've never really looked into In Excess, they can rock your ass off, especially with like Devil Inside is fantastic. Don't Change is a fantastic song. They have so many elements to them and they are so great. And most people like live stuff, unlike Anthony. But check out Live Baby Live because it is the most insane performance at Wembley Stadium from 1991. And it is moving, and it is, especially knowing that Michael died, it is the peak of their popularity, and the set is incredible. And every song will have you just hooked.
Let me clarify something.
Yeah.
I like seeing live concerts. I like
Yes.
watching live concerts, even like on YouTube. But I don't like just listening to live
Right.
albums. Like if I can watch the band do what they do, totally. But I've just never been big on live albums where if I'm just gonna listen to the music, I just want to listen to the album. So, um,
Yes.
I once like I know and love a lot of in excess songs. They're a band that I've especially since I've started hanging out and chatting with you. I'm like fuck, because like the Kick album, fucking so massive, and I liked everything that was on that. A song that I didn't discover until years later was a song you just mentioned, "Don't Change." I
Yeah.
love that song. Like, and I never even knew it existed, for probably 10 years after it had been released. So when a band can do that, then I'm like, shit, you need to go back and start revisiting. And I did watch Michael
Mystify.
Hutchins
Yeah.
documentary. Jeez, what a
It's
movie.
it's a powerful film. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it's so beautifully shot. But if I can, the one thing I would hope people would check out would either be Live Baby Live or their final album that they made in 1987 or 1997. They put out their final album and it was getting reviews of In Excess's Back,
Yeah.
and it just did not catch on. And unfortunately, it is a monster of an album. It's fantastic. It's called Elegantly Wasted, and it is phenomenal.
Was Elegantly Wasted the first single?
Yes. And it's famous because of the controversy of Michael Hutchins presented the award at the Brit Awards to Oasis.
That's right.
And Oasis said has-beens shouldn't be giving awards to gonna bees. And it devastated Michael. And he went right down the street to the studio and put into the background vocals on Elegantly Wasted, where they say, "Ah, I'm elegantly wasted." He says, "Ah, I'm better than Oasis." So if you listen closely, you can hear it. So it's pretty kick-ass.
Fucking Noel Garrett, which is who's the singer in
Noel
Oasis?
Gallagher
Noel,
or Liam.
Liam is such a douchebag.
He is.
And I do like some Oasis songs. And
Oh,
I,
sure.
and I really like that song Elegantly Wasted, but I've never listened to that album.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Shit. Okay. All right, good call. I knew that was gonna be your number or your number.
Especially when I got on and I had this shirt on. So
Right. Right. Okay, we only had one band overlap with Loverboy because my number one is not In Excess. Fucking Brian Adams. Okay. And I will completely stand behind the fact that I think Reckless is one of the greatest albums of all time. Um, if Brian Adams didn't look like he looked with the short hair, the fucking guitar riffs that he was putting out in the early 80s, very similar to fucking hair metal shit.
mhm.
Straight up catchy ass hard rock. Um, my Brian Adams love, I think Cuts Like a Knife is an amazing album. The title Cuts Like a Knife, the song fucking rules. Straight from the Heart is one of the best ballads around. This Time on that album was amazing. That album went platinum. Then Reckless. Reckless had 6 singles and they're
Nice.
all fucking good. And then there's another song called Kids Wanna Rock that wasn't a single that was also fucking good.
Yeah.
Album
Oh,
sold
damn near
12.
punk rock.
Yes. That album sold 12 million copies worldwide. Summer of 69 is again along with Working for the Weekend, one of the most iconic songs of the decade. The ballad Heaven. Shit, Jay, who appears on the channel, that's his favorite song of all time. And I get it. It's fucking amazing. My personal, I love One Night Love Affair and the duet with Tina Turner, It's Only Love, are amazing.
Yeah.
Now, the follow-up album, Into the Fire from '87, only went platinum, which after Reckless was a big letdown. But it's really good. I don't know what happened. It was a little bit different, so it only went platinum. But then the album that I think people got fucking a little sick of Bryan Adams was Waking Up the Neighbors, because Everything I Do on Robin Hood was number one for like 16 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
But again, tons of hits. There will never be another tonight. Can't stop this thing we started. But then I wonder what happened because he waited 5 years after Waking Up the Neighbors to put out his next album called 18 Till I Die. And that
Which
thing
rocked.
and I have barely listened to it. So shit,
Oh, it's
I need to
good.
listen to it. So, you know, it seemed I don't know what happened, but then he put out On a Day Like Today in 1998. Again, just both of those albums, and which, he was associated with the 80s, but so those albums failed. But damn, for a period, he was one of the biggest artists in the world, and I fucking loved him.
I love him too, and I was one of the, it's funny. I think our age difference is about 4 or 5 years, and when I was a freshman in high school when that Robin Hood movie came out,
Yep.
so I think it were about 4 or 5 years.
Yep, I was a
And
senior.
holy shit, that album was so big, and that song was so big. But where I got hooked in was Thought I Died and Gone to Heaven.
Yep.
Phenomenal song and an
Yep.
amazing video for it too. It was super cool. But I bought all of the Bryan Adams catalog. He got a little ballad heavy in the later years,
Yep.
but he's got a brand new record coming out. I think
That's
in
right.
about a month or two.
That's right.
Mitch LaFon's been pushing it, and I love Bryan Adams. He
I
can do
I
no wrong in my book.
I've bought some of his shit over the years. He's been consistently putting stuff out. I probably haven't been a good Bryan Adams fan and really just said, okay, I'm gonna sit down and listen to this a few times. I've probably been like, okay, play it once and put it away. But yeah, I mean, unbelievably massive. And I think, again, just like what we were talking about, most hair metal fans fucking were perfectly fine if you put on the Reckless album in the car.
Yeah, like we said earlier, if you took out Dirty Rotten, Filthy Stinking Rich, and you put that in, nobody batted an eyelash.
Yep, exactly. So, I think I don't think we'll do any honorable mentions because who knows? This could be something. There's tons of other rock bands that are kind of on the cusp of hair metal. So maybe there will be a part two. So, hey, we would love it if you went into the comments. Tell us what other on the cusp rock bands from the 80s that were close to hair metal. Tell us which ones we missed and tell us what you maybe your comments on some of the bands that we talked about. And with that, Patrick, thanks for coming on and talking about bands on the cusp of hair metal.
It was a blast, man. I love this topic. It was great, and it's awesome that Loverboy got as much attention as it did.
Hell
Love Lover.
yes. Hell yes. And I'm not disappointed in myself, but like all of your picks except for NXS, which I knew you were gonna have, I'm like, fuck, Rick Springfield, shit. Fuck, John Cafferty. Anyway, so awesome to have you on and talk about this.
Love
Hey,
it.
hey, like I said, go in the comments, like, subscribe. What the hell? Ring the bell. You have the opportunity to become a member. It costs a little bit, but you get early access to some of the videos. You get first response to comments, and most importantly, it just helps us to keep doing content, which is our goal is to do shit for you, the fan. So hey, until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.